Captain Invictus writes, I'm that hat guy who spoke to Chris on something awful about the Valve virtual economies.
Yes.
While Counter-Strike Go is pretty new to the scene, Dota 2 and especially TF2, which set the stage for all that followed, have been around for years, and the changes and fluctuations in them have been fascinating to watch, both for outsiders and for someone who's knee-deep in hats. Apologies for not saying this. Okay, whatever. A user discovered what is basically a massive money laundering scheme by the Russian mafia using TF2 keys.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
I don't know about this. So early in the system, when Manco supply crate keys were $2.50, and that was that, suddenly a bunch of keys started showing up at $1.25 to $1.50, far cheaper than anything else. He's talking about cost here, like $1.25 to $1.50. Scammers would hijack accounts and then use stolen credit cards to buy as many keys as possible, then sell them as fast as possible for PayPal to get 100% clean, legit money. Meanwhile, most folks who bought the said keys got nailed by Valve while they investigated for potentially being scammers themselves. The actual scammers never got caught. The hardcore ones have hundreds of accounts they've purchased from various websites that actually sell old, unused, abandoned Steam accounts for whatever purpose you need them for in bulk. The way Steam's account recovery system worked was that if an account got hijacked and cleaned out, Valve wouldn't bother recovering the items. They just created a duplicate of the entire backpack. This starts becoming an issue when someone such as Maddie, the owner of the second most valuable backpack in TF2, nearly $45,000 worth by value, gets hijacked, and suddenly all of his incredibly rare or one-of-a-kind items gets duped and spread into the rest of the economy, or possibly kept by a hijacker to then dupe themselves, or by abusing the account recovery system with a network of people. Apple earbuds are from an old promotion where logging into TF2 on a Mac got you a pair of earbuds, and they've become the de facto currency on the TF2 economy, the $20 bill, if you will. This is exactly like the Stones of Jordan in Diablo 2.
It's because there's a fixed number of them. Because, except for duping, I imagine.
But enough to be like a viable, yeah. After the promo ended, there were roughly 30 to 35,000 earbuds amongst players, but due to rampant duping and account hijacking, there's nearly 80,000 public accounts alone now. That's, again, is exactly what happened with the Stone of Jordan. It was originally because it was like... It wasn't technically fixed, but it grew at such a low rate that it was kind of like currency in that respect. But then people started duping the shit out of it and it got devalued. Anyway, this was more than double the original number, and it's like printing money. It's entirely possible for a hijacker to set up a dummy account over time, filling it gradually with extremely high-value items, and then the account mysteriously gets hijacked, and poof, suddenly he's got double the items to sell for very little work. One fellow I knew, Rob, who was literally in line to take control of the entire TF2 reputation system, and one of the most trustworthy sellers I knew before he fell from grace, is now a fence for Steam account hijackers. Hijackers came to him quickly to offload their ill-gotten gains for cheap, and he'd disseminate those items through a trickle-down mixture of dummy accounts and real people, so Valve couldn't simply ban them all without causing a shitstorm. He has over 100 expendable Steam accounts, has learned Russian so he can converse with scammers and hijackers he fences for, as well as legitimate Russian traders who sell things for much cheaper than the rest of the world's traders, and is basically the Darth Vader of internet hat trading.
I don't care if that's fake. That's the best thing.
Last time I spoke to him, he'd be turning over hundreds of duped earbuds alone for $5 profit each, sometimes making over $1,000 profit in a couple days. He said that after a couple of months, he'd pulled in $35,000 from this alone, far more than when he was a legitimate trader. One infamous hijacking was of a user who had exploited a quickly fixed bug to create vintage quality items that weren't supposed to be vintage, and owned the only copies of these bugged items that existed. Rob got a hold of them, and shortly after, many dupes started showing up, and now the prices of these, most were $500 to $1,500, have largely cratered.
Vintage items that were dupable that weren't supposed to be dupable. I think one of those might be one of the Poker Night team items, but whatever.
Oh, crazy. Before abandoning his main account, he told me he wanted to do two things. Burn this stupid hat economy to the fucking ground and build a Scrooge McDuck money bin with all the money he's getting from doing so. A major thing in the world of scumbag traders is the act of sharking. Some consider it a legitimate business tactic. Those people tend to have a gaping chest wound where their heart should be. Sharking is using a third-party website or program to find and identify targets with high-value items but little playtime or experience. Through some seriously gross social engineering and outright coercion, they'll pay next to nothing for an item that may be worth $20 or $2,000. There's been hundreds of examples of casual players who get lucky and unboxed an incredibly rare, unusual hat, who traded it for a weapon or two worth a penny, if that, because they just didn't know it might be something special. When someone unboxes a high-tier unusual, there's websites that basically sound the alarm, and the sharks descend like vultures. Jesus. Weird. Desperately trying to get to it before anyone else can sucker the mark first. Valve doesn't do anything to tell people they've got something valuable, unfortunately, despite my best efforts. I had an encounter with a 13-year-old guy who bought a few keys for Halloween and unboxed a hat worth nearly $1,600, but I wasn't able to get to him before a shark suckered him out of it, then mocked him for being ignorant of its worth. It's basically fraud, as absurd as it all sounds. It's a really ugly economy underneath it with tons of lying and deceit. From what I've experienced, the high-value Dota item economy isn't any better. These are just a few examples. I can bring up other stuff too. I haven't talked much about it. The stuff can get complicated, if not downright incomprehensible at times. Also, I bet the guy who paid $38,000 for a Dota courier is real mad that Valve was taking a big steamy dump over his purchases like a week later. Thanks for the laughs, guys. You and the Bombcast are my tag team of internet video game comedy podcast and goodness. We brought in Patrick to have this email read
that
to.
sounds like a really interesting story.
If you guys come out to PAX East, I'll grab a beer with you, but I wouldn't. Oh, I see. He can't go to PAX East itself because the pass is sold out in 5 minutes.
Cool. That's fucking nuts.
Yeah. I had heard some of the Russian stuff.
The story of the crazy hat trader who broke bad is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Just what?
Yeah.
Good. Fucking good. Wow. If you're a listener to this podcast and have a fucking insane, in-depth breakdown of crazy shit, just write it and we'll read it.
Yeah, I like this trend.
Man, the multiplayer madness and that's like 2 of the best emails we've ever fucking received in this month.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And your scoop nose is sniffing.
That's I had a guy reach out to me that like explained a lot of that. Like the Russian side of that, like
but
that's way more like
so crazy.
I thought that's where the story was gonna end. I was like, I've heard that one before, and then it's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh man, good fucking stuff.
It's just unreal.
Thank you for writing in after teasing that you should like. We saw on that guy on a forum was like, these guys don't know fucking shit. There's crazy stuff going on, and then we're like, please write in, and he didn't for weeks.
Yeah,
so,
he was like, well, it's kind of complicated. No, just write. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Here's this essay.
Video games. Welcome back to the podcast. Time for reader mail.
Let's do some reader mail.
Yeah, I agree.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, guys. Captain Invictus, who you may remember as the guy who wrote that crazy email about like the shadow Steam economy. He writes.
You weren't on that episode, were you, Sean?
No.
It was fucking nuts.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. All right, so he says,
I'm up on it.
Hey again, it's the TF2 Hat Baron with some more trading tidbits for you. Maybe nothing as good as the Rob story, who is definitely real and no doubt continuing to make insane money with TF2 stuff. And last we spoke, had been forcing himself to play Dota to learn about it so he could get into that market even if he completely loathed the game.
Good luck.
So he says, Dota has its own brand of crazy with the legacy unusual couriers because I love the combination of adjectives that need to be tagged together to like distinguish rarity of items. Anyway, because they're bugged to have special colors that they weren't supposed to. Only a few of these still exist because they were only available from unboxing in the first few weeks, and then Valve A, fixed the bug, and B, provided paints to anyone who owned one of those couriers, which would overwrite the special bugged color and you wouldn't be able to reverse it. Wow. This was one of the couriers that recently sold for $38,000. Christ. A week later, Valve announced their whole socketing and crafting thing with Dota.
38,000 or 100? Sorry.
1,000.
What the fuck?
A week later, Valve announced their whole socketing and crafting thing with Dota, which also included the ability to change effects and such on unusuals, and they pretty much flat out said they're adding back in effects very similar to the legacy courier effects that were so valuable. A similar situation in TF2 is the unusual No Mercy mask for the Spy, which for whatever reason suddenly stopped being obtainable from crates, and none has been recorded as being unboxed for many months. I bought one with the Sunbeam's unusual effect. The Sunbeam's unusual effect.
Yeah.
That sounds like a scientific principle. Do any of you guys actually know what that means? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Well, it's when the... I was going to make up a fake math.
Fair enough.
But no, I won't.
I had no idea of the actual worth, as none had been on the market for a while. He bought one for $300, I see, after offering the owner my brokerage service to sell it for him, but he wanted instant cash. I was thinking I might get $500 to $600 for it if I put in a good bit of effort. I tossed it up on a trading site, and within 20 minutes I had an offer of nearly $800. Then 2 hat barons got into a bidding war before one finally acquiesced to another's final bid of $1,700 worth of earbuds. Yeah, if you recall, the earbuds, that's like the de facto currency.
Yeah,
now,
that's
right?
that's the gold standard.
Wait, so you already knew this, Sean?
The gold, yeah.
You were already aware of this. I was not aware of this.
The
until
earbuds
email.
are like the fixed currency.
Yeah, it's the gold standard, yeah.
I was so flabbergasted that I kicked an extra $100 to the former owner. The single sale boosted its estimated value from $700-ish to more than twice that. My first real experience buying and selling a one-of-a-kind item. Dota also has the Alpine Stalker set, an armor set for the Ursa character that is basically Lederhosen.
Oh yeah, I know about this too.
And a comically tiny feathered cap perched between the huge ears of the bear monster. Now, as you know, the Dota player base is serious business, and they can't have anything visually goofy in their game for fear it turns into TF2 Lords and Hat Management. Yep. So the Alpine Stalker set was a point of contention between Valve, who had greenlit its inclusion, and the player base, who either loved it, often ironically, or utterly loathed it. Valve removed it a week after adding it and made each piece in the set of immortal quality. Basically, enough whining got it removed for not fitting the theme of Ursa. This $10 set quickly rose to $100 as not many had been purchased. It gradually became more expensive over time when Asia became exposed to Dota and China took a big interest in it. Suddenly, everyone wanted the legendary Alpine Stalker set, and the dumb thing now commands a price tag of $1,600, $400 per piece of the set. Valve produces tons of merchandise for Dota, TF2, and their other properties. Some of these come with exclusive in-game items, and one was a gigantic 3-foot wingspan inflatable winged donkey courier balloon. It came with a code for a zonky, a reskin to the basic donkey courier to make it a zebra donkey. A site that sells nerd goods had them on sale for 90% off one day, down to a mere $5, $40 normally, while the zonky item itself sold for $25 at the time. So I did what any rational human being would do. I bought 150 of the stupid fucking things and pillaged them for their zonky codes and sold them. By the time I was rid of all the zonky codes, I had made 3 times what I paid for the donkey balloons, about $2,200 in sales. This isn't particularly impressive or groundbreaking per se, but I did make about $1,500 off of giant winged donkey balloons. Also, if you'd like to purchase a donkey balloon, I'll sell some to you for cheap, please.
Also,
they're so huge and they take
email
up
us
space.
again and we'll talk. If we got 100 fucking donkey balloons,
I don't know what the I don't know what the other end of that if is.
Gotta get a helium tank and something can happen.
we gotta get an empty swimming pool.
He says if you blew up like 5 of them, they'd fill an entire room. So,
anyway, seriously, write us back.
Anyway, for the finale, during the most recent International, I tracked down this guy and got a story directly from him just for you, as I didn't want to send you just a rumor I'd heard from various places. A fellow named RTB123 went there with about 17 grand, and over the course of the International 3, bought most of the micro plushies and headsets that were available.
No, I fucking saw this guy.
As well as anything else he
Somebody
could.
was telling me about this dude who just rolled in with this much. Go on, sorry.
The Valve employees who ran the secret shop, the place to buy the paraphernalia at TI3, spoke of him in hushed whispers as the man who ruined the spirit of the secret shop and likely will be the single driving force in creating harsher restrictions on buying things. Next time. He bought pretty much all of the micro plushies that came with the lockless lockbox item, which proceeded to sell for $100 to $150 for months, thanks to him cornering the market, as well as most of the headsets that came with the Battle Fury item. According to him, he spent $21,000 US on airfare from Singapore, hotels, and products at TI3, but on top of that, he made $26,000 in profit. He apparently had to spend that's more than $100 fucking
100. Yeah,
return.
he doubled his money. Yeah,
he apparently had to spend many near sleepless nights to offload the truckloads of stuff as fast as he could, but somehow I can't shed many tears for him when he's making a small annual paycheck's worth of pure profit in 3 days. Some friends of mine were downright furious. One just wanted to buy a Nature's Prophet plushie and didn't care about the item it came with, but RTB had bought them all. I wouldn't say he's mustache twirly and spending the entirety of TI3 buying stuff, but he did take advantage of the system pretty hard. He also told me that the micro plushies, after being out of stock since TI3, suddenly came back in stock in China, so we ordered 800 of them, about $8,000 worth. While it might not play well on the podcast, this is what roughly $30,000 worth of plushies and lockless luckbox item codes. Each plushie has one look like. He has an Imgur link.
that'll go up on the blog, I imagine.
Yeah, you can put it on the blog forum.
Sorry. Finally, Jake was right when he recalled the special item that wasn't supposed to be vintage from the last mail. It was the big kill and Max's severed head from the Sam & Max The Devil's Playhouse promotion, one of the first TF2 item promotions. Max's severed head is still considered one of the most valuable and non-unusual or bugged items, and can regularly sell for $100 or so if it's not duped. When trading first came out, my friend traded his Max head for a Chieftain's Challenge, a Native American headdress that the email ends.
What?
Download rest of message?
No, it doesn't.
What? What? He was actually killed by RTB, the Singaporean.
It looks like he sent
Secret
several
shop.
drafts. Okay, never mind. There's a different draft that has it in it.
Okay, good.
A Chieftain's Challenge, a Native American headdress. I have that is worth about 25 cents now. Smooth move, Chuck. Oh, that sucks. So he's saying he had a friend who traded this now $100 item
Some
for
of those
a thing that's
they're
now
mostly
worth 25
untradeable,
cents.
right?
I think that the ones that
Oh, it's because we have the self-made.
Yeah, Sean and I have probably terrifyingly rare TF2 items as revealed by because we have the sparkly self-made ones.
Gauntlet throne coming up here.
Uh-oh.
I am totally the guy Patrick Klepek mentioned not responding to the message about the Russian key mafia. Looks like Secondhand Scoops has been scooped by the former home of Real Scoops. Hope you enjoyed part 2.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. This was an awesome...
That's crazy shit. I love it.
Nick Herman bought 5 Dota 2 polos because they came with lockless luck boxes. He bought Dota 2 polos.
So that's his wardrobe now. Also, he's just a nerd.
Yeah,
so
he bought 5 of them and they sold the luck boxes. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. But Nick is nothing compared to anything in any of this guy's emails.
God. Yeah. That guy just rolling in and destroying an economy over the course of a weekend.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be... They're obviously going to shut that down for... I mean, they're not going to let you buy...
you'll probably have to scan your badge and you can have it'll be a limit. Because right now they use your Steam account to track everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, being able to just buy 800 of them in China is also hilarious.
God, I won some crazy fucking thing that I lost my badge, like my barcode badge before I had attached my Steam account to it, and I just don't have that shit anymore now.
Yeah, I was there when you got that mythical.
I lost.
So we're standing there, and he gets a mythical courier, and everybody just goes, "Oh shit!" Oh, like this, like you scan your badge. Yeah, I thought it was attached to your Steam account, though.
I don't think I'd attached my Steam yet.
Oh my god, you must have though to get a badge.
No, the VIP badges they just give them to you. Just take them out of a box and give them to you.
Oh my god,
we had the VIP badges, so they just gave me one.
Oh, have you logged into Dota to check?
No, I don't think so.
Let's maybe before we go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Video games. Okay, so Captain Invictus continues. If you really want to see how ridiculously lucrative the key thing is, go to the Steam Marketplace and check out the graph for Manco crate key sales under the lifetime span. Pretty much every single day since the marketplace began, at least 10,000 keys sell per day. Valve is the only source of these keys, so when they get put on the marketplace, Valve takes a 15% cut. But whereas usually the sale of items and cards would be split between Valve and the creators of the game the items are for, when it comes to Dota, Counter-Strike Go, and TF2, Valve takes the full cut for themselves. For each key that sells for $2.30 on the marketplace, Valve gets 30 cents of that, or rather 30 cents worth of Steam Bucks simply vanishes, creating a healthy drain on the economy to prevent a glut of Steam Bucks with no outlet. Their economist is a pretty smart and or diabolical dude.
But these are keys. The only way to get these keys is to buy them from the legitimate marketplace. But then people can trade them
to each other.
I know, but people are buying them from the legitimate marketplace and then selling them also on the between each other marketplace. So Steam is double dipping.
Yeah.
$250 plus the 30 is $280.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's like in California when you sell a used car, you have to pay tax on it.
Yeah.
Which still enrages my parents.
Oh. As somebody who's bought bought and sold a lot of used vehicles in California over the past few years, yeah, it's the fucking worst. Yeah. Trying to talk to a stranger, trying to look a stranger in the eye and be like, "What if you say we bought this for $2,000?" And he's like, "I don't know if I really feel comfortable lying on these forms." And, oh, come on, they never check. It's going to be on me when I go to the DMV anyway. You're just telling a stranger to lie to save money. It sucks.
Yep.
Not that I've ever done that.
It probably sucks. It seems like it would. So he says, after I sent the first email to you guys, I got in touch with Rob, the Darth Vader of hat trading, on yet another new account of his since he's abandoned his original one. He has since moved on from Steam stuff to the wonderful world of cryptocurrencies. Yes, he's a Bitcoin and Litecoin dealer.
Oh, he must have been fucking just out beside himself 2 days ago.
Oh, and China fucking cracked down?
Yeah, and the price of Bitcoin went down by 50%.
Yeah.
In minutes.
Yep. That's happened a couple times with Bitcoins. It's crazy every time. I've never even heard of Litecoins. I guess that's probably a new fucking even crazier thing.
Yeah.
Apparently he makes far more off that than he did with hats, thanks to his system that automatically scans for cheap prices and automatically sells them when they're higher. Since we last spoke, he handled some even larger bundles of super valuable hats and even began handling the illicit money of the account hijackers he worked alongside, especially his most common customer, a man who goes by the moniker Wrong. Wrong asked him to temporarily hold on to his recent spoils, $10,000 to be exact. Rob made the observation that, hey, sick and tired of the hat economy, and he was planning on getting out anyway, so he decided that this $10,000 was a fitting severance package from the trading game. After all, who's the account hijacker going to complain to? So Rob went off into the sunset with a suitcase full of money to sell bitcoins and shit. When I picture him heading south in his own car with the top down, it always makes me laugh. Robert Dufresne, who crawled through a river of hats, came out clean on the other side. Robert Dufresne headed for the Pacific. I'll cut it off here to give some other folks some email time, but here's
not necessary.
Here's a picture of that donkey balloon with a scale picture from the Nerdy Stuff website before they took down the page, which is just wonderful. And then oh my god, he has an image of one of the donkey
okay, so that's
balloons.
an insane looking donkey. But
yeah, I've seen these donkey balloons.
Is
Yeah,
the scale picture there?
Let's open it up and see. Yes, it is.
So it's half the size of a human.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need 500 of those.
Yeah.
That guy could probably hook us up with 500 donkey
He
balloons.
said, "No, he has them." Remember?
That's right, the other guy has them.
Yeah, it was to offload them.
I've also got hundreds of Dota hoodies and T-shirts, 24 Dota gaming headsets that I bought not for the physical goods, but the little item cards they come with.
Dude, fucking email me. We'll talk.
I thought you were getting out of hoodies.
I'll cut the hoods off. T-shirts, headsets I could
I'll
use.
take them all.
I would totally
that whole
buy a
thing is no
headset.
longer super profitable like it used to be, now that all the genuines you can get are craftable. If you want to talk about winged donkey balloon business, you've got my email. There it is.
All right, guys. I think we could figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stew on that over the break.
Video games. All right, so Captain Invictus is back with an email about the psychology of hats. Howdy again, it's the Hat Baron here with something I've been asked a fair amount since emailing you guys.
The psychology of hats now sounds like this is like people loved the Hat Baron trilogy, so now I'm going on the road with my new book, The Psychology of Hats. So hopefully that's where this ends.
Malcolm Gladwell's The Psychology of Hats.
Yeah, buy it from the Kindle self-published store for $2.99, which I would do and promote.
Why do people pay so much for virtual hats? Well, I'm not a psychologist, but this is how I see it. Also, that's an amazing intro. Aside from the obvious appeal of owning something rare that most people don't usually see, it has to do with the base game itself. Team Fortress 2, when released, had 9 classes, and that's it. Every engineer looked like every engineer. Every soldier was a clone of other soldiers. There's no differentiating. In one update, they secretly added extremely rare hat drops, the Demo Man Fro, the Batter's Helmet, etc. Suddenly you had an occasionally slightly different character, which sparked something in the player base. They wanted to look different. I think human nature is to want to be unique from the crowd, and these special hats allowed that. This spiraled completely out of control. Now you've got this prison economy we have now, where people trade cigarettes, keys, for various goods, an item that can be used for your own purpose, but it's then consumed, and can instead be used to barter for the items you want. This is discounting the crazy people who are bad with money, or the crazy people who just have too much money. In my neck of the woods, I've been brokering a few high-end items for a couple people, including the newest ultimate rare item, the golden frying pan. Only 10 or so of these exist as of this writing, even though they've been able to drop for nearly 3 months now. Holy crap. When one appears after a particularly lucky player completes a Man vs. Machine tour, it announces it to the entire player base that you are the lucky duck who found the golden ticket. Oh man, that's crazy. I didn't know that. For a friend of a friend of mine, this means he got about 100 new friend requests who all wanted to talk to him about it 10 seconds after finding it. He doesn't trade, so he gave it to me to sell because he's not cool with random shitheads adding him and trying to scam it off of him, and this thing can go for quite a lot. The first one sold for $5,500, and that's dropped a bit since then, but $3,500 is still totally possible.
God, that's just that guy is the Flappy Bird developer of Team Fortress 2 items. Like,
it does have the special ability to turn anyone you kill with it into a golden statue of whatever pose they were in when you bludgeon them with it. It's pretty sweet, I guess. And I get to use it until someone buys it from me, the true benefit of being a broker. As for me, Valve just sent me a 1099 form for selling $22,000 worth of stuff on the Steam Marketplace last year. So I get to play Taxpayer Fortress 2 now. Hooray. Sean, I've still got all that Dota merch if you're still after some. After also Dota plushies, TF2 chess sets, and stuff like that for cheap. Email me.
We probably should email this guy.
Yeah, we should.
And what are we doing not doing
Steam friend request him.
Give me that
I like that
pan.
just the end of it just turned into like a quarter-page ad in the back of a magazine, though.
Right. Yeah.
Got that Dota merch.
Dota merch, though.
TF2
Got inflatable donkeys.
All for cheap. Email me.
Invictus.
Yeah. Video games. Captain Invictus writes, "Hey, Hat Baron here."
Captain Invictus.
Oh, this is gonna be a long one.
This is, yeah, but it's just straight. It's just a straight shot.
Oh, okay. This doesn't demand any sort
Captain Invictus, for people who have forgotten, is the guy who wrote us the crazy stories about the Dota and Team Fortress economies and like the weird mob ties and all the other crazy shit.
Excellent.
Yeah, good stuff.
So this email is actually old. I'm sorry. Today, Thursday, August 14th, they announced Dota 2 treasure keys are being removed from the game entirely. They will expire and disappear on July 1st, 2015. They're no longer available purchase from the store, and Dota chests no longer exist. Usually, Using a key simply lets you choose from a list of all the chests you might want to open outside of a limited edition or promo chest. They'll just be selling chests straight up in the future, and buying it simply means you get an unlocked chest, similar to lockless luck boxes and treasure casks that have come with various promotional items. Of course. It's a massive change, and I never thought they'd get rid of such a huge moneymaker, since there's a fairly significant amount of people who get a chest drop and think, a chest, think I'll get a key and see what's inside, but would probably not say, a chest in the store, think I'll buy one and see what's inside. It's a very slight difference, but that little push with the chest drop can mean the difference between a sale or not. They often sell over 30,000 treasure keys of various flavors each day on the marketplace, which alongside Team Fortress 2 and CSGO keys must make them far and away the biggest moneymakers on the marketplace. The entire concept of the keys has always been sleazy. It's basically gambling. But it created a baseline for a secondary economy to form, since they never went on sale and thus almost always had a constant value. I am seriously curious as to how this will affect the Dota 2 economy, as outside of the bottommost tier of items, basic item drops, regular loot from chests, and so on, a lot of items are valued in terms of the number of keys or higher tier items which have their own key values it is worth. Thanks for the laughs as always, and please hire Danielle so she doesn't have to work for Polygon anymore. They're squandering her.
Oh my god!
Oh shit.
That last sentence was not spoken out loud.
Dota, huh?
Wow. You just fucking tucked that one right in there, huh? Just a little right there.
What? What's the problem?
Are you Captain Invictus?
It was in the email.
Yes.
Oh my god, what if it turns out you are the Hat Baron?
If I'd been weirdly sending us incredibly
Chris was like,
detailed...
by the way, I have a U-Haul truck full of deflated Dota promotional donkeys.
But he
They came
doesn't
with
know he's
luck
doing
boxes.
Yep.
Video games. So,
too.
an anonymous reader writes,
Fuck you.
fairly recently, within the last month, the TF2 economy has actually crashed or undergone drastic upheaval. Earbuds are no longer the gold standard of currency, and prices have dropped heavily. Formal currency is now only accepted in metal, keys, or real dollars. So then he links to 2 Steam guides. He says, this Steam guide that was published before the crash details most of the factors that caused the crash. And this guide serves as a counter-argument that only Buds crashed and that the market will stabilize.
Only Buds crashed.
Oh no.
Keys have risen in price heavily. Originally, they were priced at $255 refined metal for 1 key, but over the 5 years or so, they've risen to the current price of $17 refined metal for 1 key. This is not because the value of keys have risen, but because the price of refined metal has been continuously decreasing. Refined metal can be obtained simply by playing the game, so the amount of metal in circulation is constantly increasing. Since keys are tethered to an in-store price of $2.49, they serve as a tethered currency. Buds, although limited in number, are not tethered to a fixed price and fluctuate with the price of keys. When keys rose in value, Buds fell in value. At their highest, they were worth 28 keys, currently 5.5. When Buds started falling in value to a large extent, people started panic selling and cashing out. The panic to sell quickly before Buds were no longer worth their current value caused Bud prices to fall even faster.
As the year 2015.
As unusual hats were traditionally measured in Buds, this caused the value of unusual hats to also fall up to 50%. As unusual traders and hat barons are acutely aware of the real-world value of their hats, they effectively avoided losing most of the real-world value by changing their asking price to keys. This instability in pricing caused the largest TF2 trading site to officially stop listing prices in Buds. As of the present, the economy, while not as strong as before, has become relatively stable. Buds are out and keys are in.
Oh.
This is one of the most amazing emails.
Headline.
Yes.
Every email that we ever get.
Loki. Yeah. That's a classic economic slogan.
Every email that we ever get about the TF2 economy and the Valve economy is insane.
I know.
Yeah.
And I imagine the reason that the economy spiraled is because that guy left to go to Greece.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's why they had to force him out. They're like, look what happened when...
You've ruined the game.
We have to stabilize the TF2
We need to
economy.
prepare for this key
Get this
shortage.
guy out of here.
He came to Greece with 3 container ships full of earbuds. Then they realized what that meant in the long term. Because he was like, look at this bud-based economy that I've been running over here. And now they're like, buds have crashed.
That's how he was getting.
Bring in the keys guy. We should have hired the keys guy.
We're the unusual hat brokers.
The unusual hat baron.
It's just a Dr. Seuss
Hopefully
book.
this guy,
really
Greece's
is.
finance minister, the new one, is the unusual hat baron. By which I mean Johnny Depp is the new finance minister.
Yes, he is. Well, he needs a new job, so.
No, he's in that movie where he wears weird contacts and a bald cap now.
Another one?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He looks like he's acting in that one a little bit, though.
Oh, really?
But he's got weird eyes and that weird
Oh,
head.
Johnny.
Video games. So Aaron Broder writes, "Hey Thumbs, this is a few weeks late, but I thought I'd share my experience with being someone with buds in a bud-based economy." So this is a TF2 email, I guess. "At some point a few years ago, I made my Steam profile public so my friends could find me easier. I was almost immediately assaulted by a daily barrage of people trying to buy my buds. I'm not a heavy TF2 player, pun not intended, but I decided to soldier on and keep my buds just in case I wanted them for later. My responses to the people spying my buds varied, from immediately shutting down to engineering a situation where I pretended I didn't know what they were talking about, to see how long they would pretend that they were actually scouting for friends before they went for the kill." Okay, this guy's fucking pun nonsense is actually interrupting my ability to focus on his actual story, which is that people keep hitting him up for buds all the goddamn time. So anyway, he says, "Once, though, as soon as someone messaged me, I immediately pretended that I was trying to buy their buds. I used every line anyone had ever used on me before, trying to play the part of an interested buyer. They were incredibly confused and eventually blocked me. A few days later, someone else messaged me on Steam saying they were friends with the original, laughing and complimenting me on my prank. Then they tried to buy my buds. My Steam profile is now private." Aaron. That's like the when you pick up the phone saying I want to order a pizza. That's basically what's going on here. Except if you only got called by people trying to order pizzas every day of your life. I guess that's what you do if your number ends up being one off from the pizza place. When my phone number when I grew up was one off from the horse racetrack.
That's a weird
in
one.
our county
Do
or whatever.
people keep trying to place bets on horses?
People are calling for that racetrack all the time. Every summer, basically.
Man.
It was just a disaster. Yeah.
So, I don't know if you saw, but Captain Invictus, the guy who wrote all the crazy Haberry emails, wrote us an email.
Okay.
On May 20th, it just says Hat Chat, and it's an update to the state of Team Fortress Hat World. I don't know if we want to get into it or not.
I mean, I'm never not down for Hat Chat. You want me to read Hat Chat, or you want to read it?
You can read it if you want.
Sure. Let's see. Okay, so he writes...
It's a heavy hat update. Not a heavy pun. God, that guy's last email ruined everything.
Yeah.
I just mean that it's a long-ass hat chat.
Are you guys down for long-ass Hat
Let's
Chat?
do long-ass hat chat.
All right. Captain Invictus writes, "Hey Thumbs, it's the Captain again. A lot has gone on in the world of TF2 trading. There was a significant market crash out of nowhere on April Fool's Day, as alluded to by prior emails from other folks. Things are a little bit on fire. A lot of people have been like, what happened? Why would it crash overnight? But in reality, it's been happening in slow motion for the last 8 or so months. One of the obvious realizations that TF2 is approaching 10 years of age at this point, and thus people will eventually move on to other games. Dota and CSGO are the big ones. Multiple other factors entered into play. I'll try to list what I've observed as reasons it began its decline. The introduction of Stranges, which track various statistics on a given item, and Killstreak kits, which enable items to activate special glows and effects depending on the type. Professional Killstreak activates various special effect glows, like fire, lightning, etc., and Specialized Killstreak activates sheens on weapons, emerald, golden, violet, and such. These made some items desirable, while others floundered in response. Genuine and vintage items have no special attributes outside of item name color, and so with the introduction of Killstreak and Strange items, these have drastically fallen by the wayside. Vintage weapons once net 50 cents or more each for even the least desired ones, whereas now across the board, save 1 or 2 exceptions, they yield only 3 to 4 cents after a sale. This is because they don't do anything special, while Stranges do. Same goes for genuines. Even the most garbage genuine hat would go for $1 or more, whereas now most are 30 cents or less. Stranges...
comment on capitalism. It just feels like a... weird Sneetches
right.
It's just it's a very strange Seuss tale going on.
Stranges, uniques, genuines, and vintages.
It's just it's
even the most genuine garbage hat or whatever it was.
Yeah. Stranges of cosmetics started appearing a while ago as well, which caused a bunch of formerly valuable cosmetics to become less desired. However, Valve put some patchwork fixes for those in the terms of kits that allow you to strangify non-strange cosmetics. God! The player base is still strong, with peaks of 78,000 players being recorded recently. Very impressive for such an old game. However, I've seen, as I have talked to customers, that there's been a significant shift from high-tier items to more middle-of-the-road or basic items. There's not many people looking for $1,000 unusuals anymore, but lots of folks seem to be happy just getting any unusual, even a crappy one. This has resulted in unusual pricing sites becoming wildly out of date with their prices. In my experience, most of them sell for half or less of the supposed values. Such is the danger of an unmoderated economy. It could collapse at any moment. So the earbud crash. On April Fool's Day, Brad Pitt, the guy who runs the largest item pricing site for
naturally
announced he was delisting earbuds as the de facto form of high-tier currency, and switching to a system based on keys since they have a much more stable value. Earbuds have been declining for a while, both because of lessened demand and the injection of hundreds of duped earbuds into the economy all at once, causing a glut that caused a bit of a panic price drop in the community. Earbuds, which at their high point yielded upwards of $45 to $50 each, are now down to $9.50 on the Steam Marketplace as of this email. The Steam Marketplace. It has created plenty of opportunity for people, but has also allowed people who couldn't give half a shit about the economy, but happen to have valuable items to dump them for irrationally low prices, which sometimes can cause a cascade effect when someone undercuts that price. The end of the line update. Last fall, Valve introduced a community-created update called the End of the Line update, which included a fan-made movie and a crapload of cosmetics. The thing is, they included too many cosmetics, and they introduced even more in the following months. In the original days when they first introduced cosmetics, they included 1-2 tops per class per update. Many updates nowadays include dozens of new cosmetics, which creates a diluting effect and makes people less likely to want to catch them all when there's too many new things coming out too quickly. It's a catch-22 because there's really a ton of amazing new stuff being created every day in the Steam Workshop. I can't blame them for wanting to include more of it. The new unusual effects suck, and there are too many of them. They've been putting in new unusual effects that are frankly kind of terrible. A lot of the time, people straight up say they don't want an unusual with a newer effect. There's some good ones, of course, but most of them are bland or just weird, and there's way too many limited edition ones. 1 or 2 unusuals show up with a special effect, and then whoops, it's gone forever, and those are the only 2 that'll ever exist. Too many special snowflakes, and it makes them all less desirable because they're not as special anymore, when suddenly everyone can have a different special snowflake. Valve gave up on their idea to retire hats. I didn't even know that was a thing. What? They started a new idea, retiring older hats to limit the supply, and abruptly stopped after the first one. The first run of hats are now no longer obtainable in any form. The ones that exist are it, and no more will drop, which is a great idea to keep things moving. There's still more than enough available, tens if not hundreds of thousands of each, so if you really want to get one, they're very much possible to get. But they back down from doing any more because they can't sell them in the store anymore? Who knows? They become marketable once they're retired, so the person who originally created the hat still gets a cut. I've talked to folks who work or worked on TF2 in the past about the various aspects of the economy, but have never been able to penetrate their methodology when it comes to running the TF2, Dota, or CSGO economies. I definitely feel they should talk to some of the folks who are neck deep in this stuff to get a better understanding of things. Video games. All right, Jordan Pugh writes, "Hi, Thumbs.
Hi.
I just found your podcast, and I'm loving it so far. It was recommended by a friend. I picked 4 episodes that looked promising based on the content discussed. On every single one of these episodes, you guys welcomed Nick Brecken back after a long absence. I'm sure I will find out why as I continue to listen." You won't. One actual game thing I want to bring up was from episode 208, Buds Are Out, Keys Are In. You guys got an email at the tail end of the episode detailing the bud crash and remarked on the ridiculousness of it all. I wanted to say that's just the tip of the iceberg. Video game economies have fascinated me for a few years now, and I was actually a TF2 trader for a while. Many people turn to trading after they begin to tire of the main game of Team Fortress 2. Whole communities are built on people buying and selling digital clothing. Some of the best traders have had inventories valued in hundreds of buds at about $30 PayPal per bud before the crash that they often built from a small seed investment. When someone began to accrue large numbers of buds, they would often switch products to actual Steam gifts. This would generally involve buying popular games from Russian sellers during a sale, then selling them for a decent profit after the sales had ended. I also did this and was in a Steam group solely dedicated to figuring out what would be the next hot thing. It was a fascinating experience, and I thought you guys might like to know how weird and cool the Steam trading community can get. Jordan.
Economy.
Yep.
Buds.
So, Jordan, you I suppose have not heard these yet. We went way deeper into the Steam economy in following episodes, but I wanted to read this email because this was a slightly different perspective than some of the other crazy Steam stories we got.
To the other reader mails and then writing in their perspective on that, the rest of that story.
Yeah, because, me too. Yeah,
man, that went crazy.
We will always. I'm always interested.
The Hat Baron series, basically.
I'm always interested to learn more about this crazy shit.
Yeah,
because it is so strange and so specific to video games, and also totally under the radar all the time.
Buds Are Out, Keys Are In was actually the final mail in that series, but all the stuff before that was like the complete crazy deep dive into like inflatable donkey balloons and all that crazy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta get those luck faces. Gotta get those lockless luck faces. Man, all that stuff is totally like muted now in Dota. Relatively dead. It's weird. I mean, I'm sure it's not relative.
Seems like it's still going strong. When I say
relative, I do mean the word relative in terms of how it was maybe a year ago.
Yeah, they tamped that down in Dota pretty hard, but it seems like Team Fortress just continues to revel in its own weird meta economy madness. Yeah.